Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 3, Hiranyakashipu's plan to become immortal. Text number 13 onwards. So all the demigods have gone to Lord Brahma to inform him of the austerities being performed by Hiranyakashipu and his intentions. Tavasanam dvijagavam parameshthayam jagatpate bhavaya shreyase bhutya kshemaya vijayaya cha. O Lord Brahma, your position within this universe is certainly most auspicious for everyone, especially the cows and the Brahmins. Brahminical culture and the protection of cows can be increasingly glorified, and thus all kinds of material happiness, opulence, and good fortune will automatically increase. But unfortunately, if Hiranyakashipu occupies your seat, everything will be lost. In this verse, the word Dvija Gavam Parameshthayam indicate the most exalted position of the Brahmins, Brahminical culture, and the cows. In Vedic culture, the welfare of the cows and the welfare of the Brahmins are essential. Without a proper arrangement for developing Brahminical culture and protecting cows, all the affairs of administration will go to hell. Being afraid that Hiranyakashipu would occupy the post of Brahma, all the demigods were extremely disturbed. Hiranyakashipu was a well-known demon, and the demigods knew that if demons and Rakshasas were to occupy the supreme post, Brahminical culture and protection of cows would come to an end. And this happens not just Hiranyakashipu, anywhere. When demons or Rakshasas, they take over, it's not like they're going to have some horns coming out of their head and the teeth, long teeth. No, demons. We all have demonic tendencies. And the people with more demonic tendencies, when they come to power, they just becomes loose. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the original proprietor of everything is Lord Krishna. The Lord therefore knows particularly well how to develop the material condition of the living entities within this material world. In every universe, there is one Brahma engaged on behalf of Lord Krishna, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. The principal creator in each Brahmanda is Lord Brahma, who imparts Vedic knowledge to his disciples and sons. On every planet, the king or supreme controller must be a representative of Brahma. Therefore, if a Rakshasa requests Lord Brahma to take immediate steps to thwart Hiranyakashipu's plans. And of course, they know if Brahmaji cannot do anything, then Krishna himself will take care of it. In the beginning of creation, Lord Brahma was attacked by two demons, Madhu and Katab, but Krishna saved him. Therefore, Krishna is addressed as Madhu Katab Hantri. Now, again, Hiranyakashipu was trying to replace Brahma. The material world is so situated that even the position of Lord Brahma, not to speak of ordinary human beings, is sometimes in danger. Nonetheless, until that time of Hiranyakashipu, no one had tried to replace Lord Brahma. Hiranyakashipu, however, was such a great demon that he maintained this ambition. So this was his intention, and demigods knew that he wants to replace Brahma, and that's it. He wants to be the overall in charge of the whole universe. The word bhutyai means for increasing opulence, and the word shreyase refers to ultimately returning home back to Godhead. In spiritual advancement, one's material position improves at the same time that the path of liberation becomes clear and one is freed from material bondage. If one is situated in an opulent position in spiritual advancement, his opulence never decreases. Therefore, such a spiritual benediction is called bhuti or vibhuti. Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad Gita, Yat Yat Vibhuti Mat Satvam. If a devotee advances in spiritual consciousness and thus becomes materially opulent also, his position is a special gift from the Lord. Such opulence is never to be considered material. At the present day, especially on this planet Earth, the influence of Lord Brahma has decreased considerably, and the representatives of Hiranyakashipu, the Rakshasas and the demons, have taken charge. Therefore, there is no protection of Brahminical culture and cows, which are the basic prerequisites for all kinds of good fortune. This age is very dangerous because society is being managed by demons and Rakshasas. So just we can only imagine when a demon like Hiranyakashipu was in charge. Of course, he could not topple Lord Brahma. He could not take over Brahmaloka, but below Brahmaloka, everything was in his control. So what kind of ruler and what kind of lawlessness must have been? Of course, he was a great king, so laws were there, but whatever laws he wanted, not according to the original setup. Ite vigyapito dever bhagwan atma bhur nripa parito bhrigu dakshadhyar yayo datyeshva ashramam. O king, being thus informed by the demigods, the most powerful Lord Brahma, accompanied by Bhrigu, Daksha, and other great sages, immediately started for the place where Hiranyakashipu was performing his penances and austerities. So they all went to this Mandar mountain. Lord Brahma was waiting for the austerities performed by Hiranyakashipu to mature, so that he could go there and offer benedictions according to Hiranyakashipu's desire. Now, taking the opportunity of being accompanied by all the demigods and great saintly persons, Brahma went there to award him the benediction he desired. Na dadarsha pratyachannam valmikatrin kichakah pipili kabhirachirnam medastvang masashonitam tapantam tapasalokan yatha bhrapihitam ramim vilaksha vismitah praha hasanstan hansuvahana. Lord Brahma, who's carried by a swan airplane, at first could not see where Hiranyakashipu was, for Hiranyakashipu's body was covered by an anthill and by grass and bamboo sticks. Because Hiranyakashipu had been there for a long time, the ants had devoured his skin, fat, flesh, and blood. Then Lord Brahma and the demigods spotted him, resembling a cloud covered sun, heating all the world by his austerity. Struck with wonder, Lord Brahma began to smile and then addressed him as follows. So just imagine, his whole body was eaten up by the ants. This is the picture that you see in the background. There was an ant hill and his whole body was basically eaten up. Ants had eaten his skin, his fat, his flesh and blood. So somehow he had kept his soul within the bones. And that's how he performed his austerity. The living entity can live merely by his own power without the help of skin, marrow, bone, blood, and so on. Because it is said, Asango Ayam Purusha. The living entity has nothing to do with the material covering. Hiranyakashipu performed a severe type of tapasya, austerity, for many long years. Indeed, it is said that he performed the tapasya for 100 heavenly years. So 100 Divya Varsh. Since one day of demigods equals 6 of our months, certainly this was a very long time. By nature's own way, his body had been almost consumed by earthworms, ants, and other parasites. And therefore, even Brahma was at first unable to see him. Later, however, Brahma could ascertain where Hiranyakashipu was, and Brahma was struck with wonder to see Hiranyakashipu's extraordinary power to execute tapasya. Anyone would conclude that Hiranyakashipu was dead because his body was covered in so many ways. But Lord Brahma, the supreme living being in this universe, could understand that Hiranyakashipu was alive, but covered by material elements. So we cannot even imagine what kind of tapasya. I mean, we do tapasya. Our tapasya is what? Chant 16 rounds. And suppose in that chanting of 16 rounds, we are sitting down and trying to concentrate our mind, which is always going here and there. And then one ant comes and he bites us on our foot. We would be jumping all over. Forget about Harinam or anything. We would be jumping, oh, pain or this or that, and take care of the ant. Here, Hiranyakashipu's whole body was eaten up by ants. He did not budge from his place. It is also to be noted that although Hiranyakashipu performed as this austerity for a long, long time, he was nonetheless known as a Daitya and a Rakshasa. It will be seen from verses to follow that even great saintly persons could not perform such a severe type of austerity. Why then was he called a Rakshasa and Daitya? It is because whatever he did was for his own sense gratification. His son Prahlad Maharaj was only 5 years old, and so what could Prahlad do? Yet simply by performing a little devotional service according to the instructions of Narad Muni, Prahlad became so dear to the Lord that the Lord came to save him, whereas Hiranyakashipu, in spite of all his austerities, was killed. This is the difference between devotional service and all other methods of perfection. One who performs severe austerities for sense gratification is fearful to the entire different. Still, is the wish of every entity, and since a devotee assumes the qualities of the Lord, the devotee also acts for everyone's good fortune by performing devotional service. Thus, although Hiranyakashipu performed such a severe austerity, he remained a Daitya and a Rakshasa. Whereas Prahlad Maharaj, although born of the same Daitya father, became the most exalted devotee and was personally protected by the Supreme Lord. Bhakti is therefore called a Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam, indicating that a devotee is freed from all material designations and Anya Vilashita Shunyam, situated in a transcendental position, free from all material desires. But Hiranyakashipu is considered the biggest demon because performed wonderful austerities, but only for his own sake, only for his own sense gratification. And another wonderful thing to observe, he performed these austerities for 100 celestial years, Divya Varsh. And Prahlad Maharaj was only 5 years old. So when Hiranyakashipu was performing these austerities, we'll see later, Indra had taken Kayadu, but Narad Muni came in between, and Kayadu was Hiranyakashipu's wife. And Narad Muni intervened and he took Kayadu to his ashram, where he gave her the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb and he heard the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. And somehow, Prahlad Maharaj was not born while while Hiranyakashipu was performing austerities. Only when she came back, he was born. So, and when he was only 5 years old, Hiranyakashipu was killed by Nrsimhadev. So Hiranyakashipu performed hundreds of years of austerities. And he enjoyed for how long? 5 years. That's it. And Prahlad Maharaj performed devotion service. Yes, in his previous life also, he enjoyed for such a long time. So this is the difference. And it's a big difference. So devotional service, as Prabhupada also mentions here, it's very, very powerful. Even a little devotion service, Krishna can be attracted by that. Shri Brahma Vacha, Uttishta Bhadram Te, Tapah Siddho Asi Kashyapa, Varado Aham Anuprapto, Vriyatam Ipsito Varaha. Lord Brahma said, O son of Kashyap Muni, please get up, please get up. All good fortune unto you. You are now perfect in the performance of your austerities, and therefore I may give you a benediction. You may now ask from me whatever you desire, and I shall try to fulfill your wish. Srila Madhvacharya quotes from the Skanda Puran, which says that Hiranyakashipu, having become a devotee of Lord Brahma, who is known as Hiranyagarbha, and having undergone a severe austerity to please him, is also known as Hiranyak. Okay. Rakshasas and demons worship various demigods, such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, just to take the post of these demigods. This we have already explained in the previous verses. So he was also known as Hiranyak. Adraksham aham etam te haritsaram mahad adbhutam dansha bhakshit dehasya prana hi astishu sherate. I have been very much astonished to see your endurance. In spite of being eaten and bitten by all kinds of worms and ants, you are keeping your life air circulating within your bones. Certainly, this is wonderful. It appears that the soul can exist even through the bones, as shown by the present example of Hiranyakashipu. So it doesn't need all the bodily organs to survive, because soul cannot be killed. When great yogis are in samadhi, even when their bodies are burnt and their skin, marrow, blood, and so on have all been eaten, if only their bones remain, they can exist in a transcendental position. Now, this is Prabhupada saying, and of course, in the Western world, they will not believe it. Very recently, an archaeologist published findings indicating that Lord Christ, after being buried, was exhumed and that he then went to Kashmir. There have been many actual examples of yogis being buried in trance and exhumed alive and in good condition several hours later. A yogi can keep himself alive in a transcendental state, even if buried not only for many days, but for many years. So Jesus Christ, Prabhupada is saying, when he was put on the cross. So after that, he was taken down, and it was said he resurrected. Resurrected means he became alive. He came alive. But then Prabhupada said he went to Kashmir because there are many years of life of Jesus Christ that has not been recorded, or it's in the record, but they don't. The Christians, they don't show it to people, or the Vatican doesn't show it to common people, because according to that record, Jesus Christ came to India. He had gone to Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra also. There has been writings on that. And then he went to Kashmir, where he learned this yoga, samadhi. He learned all these austerities from munis over there. And from there on, he went back to his place and then he started preaching. And preaching, of course, he had to go through lots of hardships, and then he was put on the cross. And from the cross, then he just kept his soul within the body, and it is said after 3 days he resurrected. He came alive, but after that he didn't preach. He just came to Kashmir, and that's where he left his body later on. But these parts nobody tells us. They say it's in the Old Testament, and the New Testament is a new or the revised, edited version of the old books to suit their purpose. So this is what is wrong when you mess with the scriptures or the life history of such a great personality, Jesus Christ. Netat purvarshayaschakrur na karishyanti cha pare nirambodha pur dharayet pranam kove divya samah shatam. Even saintly persons like Bhrigu, born previously, could not perform such austerities, nor will anyone in the future be able to do so. Who within these 3 worlds can sustain his life without even drinking water for 100 celestial years? Because Bhrigu Muni went with Lord Brahma, so Brahmaji is giving his example. It appears that even if a yogi does not drink a drop of water, he can live for many, many years by the yogic process, though his outer body be eaten by ants and moths. Vyavasayena teyanena dushkarena manasvinam taponishtena bhavata jito aham ditinandana. My dear son of Diti, with the great determination and austerity, you have done what was impossible, even for great saintly persons, and thus I have certainly been conquered by you. In regard to the word Jita, Srila Madhva Muni gives the following quotation from Shabda Nirnay. Parabhutam vashastham sajitabhid uchate buddha. If one comes under someone else's control or is defeated by other, is called Jita. So Brahma is saying, I was conquered by your austerities. Hiranyakashipu's austerity was so great and wonderful that even Lord Brahma agreed to be conquered by him. Tatastha ashishah sarva dadami asura pungava artasya tehi armata Hi amartasya darshanam na phalam mama. O best of the asuras, for this reason I am now prepared to give you all benedictions according to your desire. I belong to the celestial world of demigods who do not die like human beings. Therefore, although you are subject to death, your audience with me will not go in vain. It appears that human beings and asuras are subjected to death, whereas demigods are not. The demigods who reside with Lord Brahma in Satyaloka go to Vaikuntha Loka in the present bodily constructions at the time of the dissolution. Therefore, although Hiranyakashipu had undergone severe austerities, Lord Brahma predicted that he had to die. He could not become immortal or even gain equal status with the demigods. The great austerities and penances he had performed for so many years could not give him protection from death. This was foretold by Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma knew his mind that he is going to ask me for immortality. And he said, well, no, even the human beings and people like you have to die. So he said, okay, ask me whatever you want, whatever your desires are, but don't ask me for immortality. And in a roundabout way, Brahmaji also said, we don't die like you, but it doesn't mean they are immortal. We also leave the body. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions. Okay, so you all stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Jai